fight, say Crawford, like immediately. They're not even debating it. Are they making a mistake?
Well, time will tell. I mean, in the end, if you make me pick, I'll pick Crawford.
All the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now. Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
I gotta go Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the best ever.
Canelo goes in there and underestimates Crawford's strength. That could be a mistake, okay? It only takes a few pounds of pressure to hurt a guy. You don't need to be that big of a guy to hurt a guy.
Max Kellerman warns Canelo Alvarez that Terence Crawford could be the fighter to end his career. He explains that Crawford is quick, reactive, and difficult to read with tricky timing. Kellerman notes that Crawford often spends the first rounds observing his rivals before launching accurate, damaging shots. In his opinion, Canelo's power alone might not be enough to counter Crawford's adaptability, making this an extremely risky fight.
The tough thing for Crawford is that Spence has a very high work rate, and we've seen Spence win behind a jab and defense on a world-class level. He's also a real hard hitter, and he's twitchy, and he's very aggressive. So usually Crawford likes to study a guy for a couple rounds, and then he kind of, okay, now I got it, and then he does it. But against Spence, you might have to hurt him or knock him out, because you turn around, and if Crawford messes around, he can be down 4-1 after 5 rounds, and not against the guy who's looking to survive, against the guy who's looking to beat you up. On the other hand, Spence also has to worry about the fact that he's been through a lot in his life so far. And Crawford, although he also has been really about boxing for a lot of years now. Usually that guy will have the advantage in the moment of truth. And Crawford's always made adjustments. He's probably the best adjusting fighter in the sport.
Shaquille O'Neal, famous worldwide for his dominant NBA career and bold opinions on sports, has openly backed Terence Crawford ahead of the massive clash with Canelo Alvarez. In his eyes, Crawford is the finest boxer of this era and maybe the greatest ever. Shaq praised Crawford's rare ability to switch strategies mid-fight, describing him as a special talent who mixes timing, accuracy, and composure under pressure. He believes Crawford's sharp instincts and mental strength will eventually overwhelm Canelo. For Shaq, this isn't just a battle between boxing's biggest stars, but a moment for Crawford to secure his legacy. By stating clearly that he favors Crawford to win, Shaq joins the rising wave of big names predicting Bud will stun the boxing world again.
Shaq, what up, man? Listen, you're a lifelong combat sports fan. You go to all the events. Everyone's talking about the one fight right now, Terence Crawford versus Canelo. Who do you got?
I gotta go Terence Crawford.
Terence Crawford?
Yeah.
Why?
This is the best ever.
Really? You think he's the greatest ever?
Yeah.
Over Ali, Muhammad Ali? I didn't know you were a big Terence Crawford fan like that.
You have to understand that there's eras, and in different eras, you can bring down the titles. Like, for example, Joker's the best big man now.
Right.
And I don't like.
You put Joker over you as the best big man? Oh.
Different eras and different times. It's not my era, not my time now.
True.
It's their time. So he's the greatest big man in the NBA right now. So I let the people decide who's that. But right now, Terence Crawford is the best.
So
and Floyd, because Floyd has never lost.
So how does Terence beat Canelo? Decision?
He's
or
gonna knock him out.
He's going to knock Canelo out?
Yes, man.
So they're going to have the fight at the Vegas Stadium, Raider Stadium. You're going to be there?
I heard it was off.
No, it's back on.
Okay,
now
yes,
it's back
yeah,
on. It's
I'll
in
be
September 13th in Vegas.
I'll be there.
You'll be there. Front row? Front row?
Of course.
All right, cool. You're the man. Listen, I saw you lace up the gloves once versus Oscar De La Hoya. Can we ever see you put the gloves back on? Maybe versus Dwight Howard.
Well, why would I fight him? I only fight champions.
You only fight you.
If I do, see, my thing is, all these guys had a problem with me, but you wait till I turn 50 to say you want to fight.
Right.
I don't respect that. I'll fight Gronk, because Gronk is a champion, and he's a friend of mine, and I know that he'll compete.
So you want to box Gronk or MMA?
What? MMA.
MMA.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
hey,
yeah.
big respect. You're a legend. Hey, you're always the coolest. Congrats on another successful year at Shaq's Funhouse.
Former world champion Timothy Bradley also shared strong thoughts on the matchup, particularly addressing the talk around Canelo Alvarez's sparring choices. After news surfaced that Canelo brought in Jaron Ennis, some questioned whether Crawford might feel uneasy knowing Alvarez was training with such elite opposition. Bradley brushed this off, insisting Terence Crawford is not the type to be shaken by what happens in another camp. To him, Bud is built differently. His self-belief, toughness, and resume all prove he performs best under pressure. Bradley even called Crawford the greatest, stressing that the Omaha-born star is mentally rock-solid and technically ahead of the rest. For Bradley, there is no doubt that Crawford embraces this test with full confidence and blocks out outside distractions.
Tim Desert Storm Bradley, who the hell is scared? Who's scared? ain't scared. T ain't scared. Team Crawford ain't scared. Shit, we ain't never scared. Y'all better get it right. Shoot. Hey, Canelo, you might be getting that Chrysler 300. You getting that Chrysler 300 work right now. That's what you getting. But you ain't getting that. You getting that Bentley on the 13th. You getting that Bentley on the 13th, my boy. Yeah. Yeah, go ahead and play with that Chrysler 300. You getting the real on the 13th. I promise you, man. Shoot. I've been saying this since the first day I sparred this man. Trust me. I'm telling y'all, man, out there. Crawford is a different animal. Yeah, he's something like a Michael Jordan. He's something like a Kobe Bryant. He's something like a LeBron James. Yeah, damn it, he a GOAT. I'm telling y'all, GOAT. GOAT. When y'all gonna step up, man? When y'all gonna believe me, man? What do I gotta continue to tell y'all? He gonna figure it out. Shoot, Crawford is Ali. Crawford Sugar Ray Robinson. Crawford Mayweather. He got Mayweather in him too. Yeah. He got Hagler in him. He got Duran in him. Understand that. Y'all think this is a game, man? Y'all think I'm just blowing smoke up my mind? I'm not. No. I'm telling y'all. He gonna figure it out.
One of the key storylines before the showdown has been Floyd Mayweather Jr.'s reported appearance at Terence Crawford's training camp. Since Mayweather is among the very few who have already faced and defeated Canelo Alvarez, his guidance could be priceless. Floyd's original game plan against Canelo relied on slick defense, counterpunching, and frustrating the Mexican star with accuracy. For Crawford, direct access to Mayweather's advice means learning from the man who cracked the Canelo code over a decade ago. Reports indicate Floyd spoke to Crawford about discipline, patience, and seizing small openings in Canelo's style.
3 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 39 big wins by way of knockout, will not learn and not be able to pick up from Jerron Boots Ennis sparring Canelo Alvarez. There's an uproar because Jerron Boots Ennis, African-American fighter, black boxer, has joined the Mexicans' camp to help prepare the Mexican fighter, Canelo Alvarez, defeat another African-American fighter, which he needs Jerron Ennis to give him looks of the undefeated pound-for-pound king, 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, superstar boxer who will be a first ballot Hall of Famer once he retires as well, in Terence Bud Crawford, who has 41 wins, no loss, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout.
Crawford's natural strength at 147 pounds has often been overlooked. Even after moving up from lighter divisions, he has repeatedly shown both power and resilience against bigger foes. Adding to his preparation is sparring with former pound-for-pound king Andre Ward. Ward, an undefeated master strategist, gives Crawford unique experience that cannot be duplicated anywhere else. Training with someone of Ward's caliber forces him to handle complex tactics, sharpen his fight IQ, and improve his defensive craft. Combining raw power, tireless dedication, and exposure to elite sparring partners strengthens the case that Crawford will be at his absolute best against Canelo. The takeaway is clear: Bud isn't just a born champion, but one who prepares at the highest possible level.
My people out there who think I just side with the black guy, I seen the comments in the last video that I did, okay? But we have to break some things down into perspective here. First and foremost, Terence Crawford is a very strong 147 pounder. He's not a regular guy. He's not a regular 147 pounder. Another thing is, he's an extremely determined fighter. That guy's a winner. He's cut from the same cloth as the Andre Wards, the Floyd Mayweathers. You only get certain fighters that come across in a decade that had that kind of aura and that kind of determination to win. Now, if we want to break it down fundamentally, don't get me wrong. Canelo is a strong fighter. You know, he's proven himself. He got a great chin. He's fought some of the best fighters that you can ask for. But he's not that much bigger if you ask me. They're about the same size and height. Now, don't get me wrong, he's a little bit wider, he's a little bit, you know, pause, thicker, right? Like, as far as his frame goes.
Veteran commentator Max Kellerman has called the upcoming bout the most significant event of his entire career. Despite covering countless historic fights, Kellerman insists Canelo versus Crawford carries a weight that even surpasses the heavily hyped Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson matchup. In his breakdown, this fight rises above typical boxing spectacle because it pits two pound-for-pound greats against one another, each representing different eras and philosophies of the sport. Canelo symbolizes modern dominance and global superstardom, while Crawford embodies technical mastery and relentless resilience. To Kellerman, this contest reflects boxing at its purest, two champions meeting without excuses, politics, or delays. The buzz isn't only about numbers, but the lasting legacy it will carve for both fighters.
But like, where would you rank this fight out of your top 3 to 5 of all the boxing fights you've called, you've experienced, you've watched?
In terms of the magnitude of the
magnitude,
fight?
yeah.
I mean, of the fights that I've called ringside, it might turn out to be number 1. I've done Pacquiao fights, I've done Mayweather fights, I've done Anthony Joshua against Klitschko, those are big fights, but this will, listen, because of Netflix, this will be the most watched fight, championship fight, in almost 50 years. This is going to be because Muhammad Ali fought Leon Spinks in the rematch in '78, and they did 90 million TV sets. 90 million. And since then, what has even come close? The biggest fights have all been on pay-per-view, and they do 2 million buys. Oh my God, 4 million buys, Mayweather Pacquiao. As I keep saying, if 5 people per TV set watch, that's 20 million people. This is going to do multiples of that. So, so when you look at it from like a commercial point of view, it'll easily be the biggest boxing event I've ever covered.
Some analysts argue that the version of Canelo Alvarez who shows up on fight night will decide the outcome more than any other factor. Observers have pointed out that his recent performances have lacked the explosiveness and sharpness that once defined his prime. To overcome Crawford, many believe Canelo must rediscover his old form, the relentless pressure fighter with crushing combinations and endless stamina. If he fights too cautiously or misjudges Crawford's timing, he risks being broken down. Experts stress that Canelo's legacy is at stake, and only by reaching back to his peak level can he silence the doubters. This fight, in many ways, demands the absolute best version of Canelo Alvarez.
In regards to Canelo's meaty workout, so what do we see there? We see a little bit of what he wants to do to take advantage of a right-hand southpaw matchup. Get his lead foot on the outside, bang the right hand down the pipe, set it up with the jab, and maybe even fire that jab at the lead hand of Crawford to just get it touch, step outside right hand down the middle. We saw Canelo doing a lot of cross-stepping, which is, I think, a bad idea versus someone who has good angle manipulation like Crawford does, right? Every wasted movement is going to be a capitalization for Crawford to try to fire back on. And Canelo is going to be there to be hit with some counter punches. Make no mistake about it, Canelo will stand in the pocket. Yes, he'll try to make Crawford miss, but sometimes he'll even eat a couple so that he can be there behind that high guard, taking punches to look for one of the big ones on his own counter shot. So that can be a little bit of the gamesmanship too. That can be a little bit of the chess game going on, is who's going to land the bigger counter punch and how many of those can Crawford take moving up to 168 versus Canelo, who has been there and is fighting a guy that has fought at a lot smaller weight, that hasn't seen the power, like we talked about, the narratives being built, that Canelo brings at 168. Even now, all those things will come into play. I think a big important part of this fight is just how much Canelo utilizes his lead hand, because I'm telling you, it's going to be the most important thing in this fight. I really think if Canelo is back on his jab and is able to mask some of the stuff that he loves to do, which is that lead hook to the body, smashing hook on the arms, on the body, on the shoulders. If he's able to hide it just a little bit and then hit you with that timing, that Canelo Alvarez timing that's been perfect, that put down Amir Khan, that put down Billy Joe Saunders, that found the button on Kovalev, those punches, that timing, it's not just speed, it's not just power, it's the throwing in between, it's finding the right shot. Those things can make all the difference in the world, because I would almost bet everything I own that if Canelo lands clean on Crawford, it's going to have far more of an effect than Crawford landing clean on Canelo. And that's not even because both guys don't possess power. Crawford possesses power. He's put a lot of guys down. But Canelo, we've seen, has an iron chin, and I watched Crawford get rocked by Gamboa. Again, different time period, I get that, but I don't think that as you get older, and even as you go up in weight, that somehow makes you more readily available to take flush punches.
Boxing great Andre Ward praised the importance of this clash, emphasizing that regardless of the outcome, The sport itself is the true winner. Ward explained that mega fights like this are rare in today's boxing world, where promotional hurdles and business politics often prevent the best from fighting the best. He credited figures like Turki Alashik and Dana White for helping make the event possible, acknowledging their role in delivering history. Ward highlighted that fans have long craved matchups like this, pound-for-pound elites colliding at the height of their powers. One of the biggest concerns for Crawford, however, was whether he could withstand Canelo's punching power. Known as one of boxing's hardest hitters, Canelo has often tested smaller men moving up in weight. Yet recent training footage has flipped that narrative. Videos show Crawford looking stronger, bigger, and more comfortable at the higher weight, shutting down doubts about his physical readiness. Analysts now claim the extra size has only sharpened his skill set, making him look fast, powerful, and perfectly balanced.
Right, and again, stark contrast to what Terence Crawford is having to deal with. He is fighting guys, and when I say cutting down from 190, probably in the ring at 190 pounds, much less cutting down from it. Crawford's probably used to being hit by guys like Sean Porter, who, you know, maybe 160 pound on fight night. The difference is just night and day. So I was thinking, how in God's name are you going to get around that? How are you going to get around the strength disadvantage? Because Crawford is very physically strong, and he normally always has, maybe with the exception of Sean Porter, although that was kind of much of a muchness. Sean Porter did really well that fight. He's normally always had the physical strength advantage, very physically strong as Terence Crawford. And I just remember thinking, how are you going to get around that? You know, you're used to hitting guys and they get hurt. Alvarez has been hit by Danny Jacobs. He's been hit by Triple G. He's been hit by Bivol, Kovalev, Callum Smith, etc., etc., etc. Big punching guys who are a lot bigger than Terence Crawford. Granted, not skillful, a lot bigger. So again, I'm thinking, how are you going to get around this? Well, Crawford has released a couple of training clips, and in those training clips, yikes, he's looking good for one. He's looking a lot better than Canelo was looking in some of his training clips. But again, you can't read a great deal into those training clips because, again, Alvarez is clearly holding back. You know, people say, oh, he looked terrible. It's like, well, you can kind of tell he's not going full tilt. You know, you can kind of tell that. So what does that tell you? You know, how many times have we seen guys look good on the pads and then on fight night they've nothing left? I distinctly remember Alexander Povetkin in the run-up to the second Dillian Whyte fight in an open workout. Man looked really good in the pads. That was in Gibraltar. Man looked really good in the pads. Really good. He didn't look good on fight night, did he? So, you know, you can't read a great deal into, if they look, if you can tell they're trying, they look completely.
Comedian and actor Faison Love also grabbed attention with his bold take on the fight. He described Crawford as a bad man, meaning dangerously skilled inside the ring, and stated without hesitation that Bud would win regardless of Canelo's decorated resume. Love dismissed the idea that Canelo's long list of past opponents gives him the edge, insisting Crawford's adaptability, ring IQ, and ruthless mindset will carry him to victory. For Faison, the matchup isn't about who Canelo has beaten before, but about the present moment. Crawford is in his prime, motivated, and determined to secure his greatness. His remarks echo what many fans believe, that this fight could be the ultimate passing of the torch in boxing.
Well, are you a boxing fan?
Yeah.
Canelo versus Crawford.
Crawford all day long.
Now.
Crawford all day long.
Now, according to betonline.ag, Canelo is favored -172. Crawford is the underdog at +151.
Oh, good.
So that means if you bet $172 on Canelo, you'll get $100 back. Almost 2-to-1 odds.
Wait, are you saying Canelo is the under?
Favored. No. Canelo's favored.
Oh.
So that means Crawford. So with Crawford, if you bet $100 on Crawford, you'll get $151 back. Meaning that he is basically
underdog.
He's the underdog. They'll say that he's going to lose. Now Crawford is undefeated. Canelo had a couple defeats like Mayweather, but in general, he's been doing it a bit longer. And Canelo's naturally bigger.
So
you give it to Crawford?
I'm going to bet on Crawford.
Is it because he's black? And Canelo's Mexican?
No, because Crawford's a Bud's a bad.
Yeah.
Bud's a bad. The only Shea interview I liked was with him and Crawford.
Okay.
Did you see that?
No, I didn't see it.
It was a really good interview.
Okay.
He was showing him how to fight, and Shea kept getting tired. He's like, and he just kept it 100. They was in the ring. He showed him how to box. Because I always thought I had to slap Shannon. Well, you know, I was like, at some point, me and Shannon gonna mix it up, but no longer. It's all love. And he can't fight. He's just a big dude. And Crawford was. Can we scratch that? But yeah, he can't fight. He was in there with Crawford, and Crawford was.
Well, look, Canelo is 63-2-2 with 39 knockouts. Crawford is 41-0 with 31 knockouts. So more knockouts per fights, percentage-wise.
Crawford?
Yeah, but Crawford has to go up in weight. Canelo's naturally bigger and stockier.
That's just technically.
Yeah, I mean, but that does matter.
Not really.
Crawford is taller. He's at 5'8", 74-inch reach.
When is this fight?
September 13th, 2025. And it's going to be on Netflix, so it's going to be free.
Is it going to be in Vegas?
Yeah, I believe so.
I'm going to be there.
That wraps up today's video. Stay locked in for more updates. And until next time, thanks for watching.